For nearly a week, the once proud king of the zoo lay motionless in the corner of his dusty enclosure. His golden mane, once the color of fire under the sun, had dimmed to the shade of old straw. Keepers whispered behind the barriers, eyes filled with unease. Even the children who once pressed their faces to the glass now stood in silence. Something was wrong with the lion, terribly wrong. No one could understand why. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. Every Saturday, Daniel and his 7-year-old son Noah followed the same routine. They'd grab breakfast on the way, walk past the elephants, nod at the penguins, and stop exactly where they always did, in front of the lions. For Noah, this wasn't just a visit, it was a ritual. "There he is, Dad!" he would shout every week, tugging Daniel's hand toward the enclosure. The lion, the largest of the pride, always stood tall on the rocks, sunlight rippling across his mane like a crown. Noah had named him King. And to Noah, King wasn't just an animal behind glass. He was his lion. That morning felt different the moment they arrived. The air around the lion enclosure was still unnervingly still. King wasn't on the rocks. He wasn't pacing. He wasn't even looking up. Instead, he lay pressed against the far wall, ribs faintly visible beneath his fur. His eyes, once fierce and full of life, looked dull, distant, almost human in their sadness. "Dad," Noah whispered, pressing his palms against the glass. "What's wrong with him?" Daniel hesitated. "Maybe he's tired, buddy. Everyone has lazy days." But even as he said it, his stomach tightened, because King didn't look tired. He looked defeated. They tried to enjoy the rest of the zoo. Monkeys swung from ropes, penguins waddled like clowns, but Noah barely smiled. Every few minutes, his gaze flicked back toward the lion enclosure. When they stopped for lunch, he didn't touch his food. "Eat a little, champ," Daniel urged. "King wouldn't want you to worry." But Noah shook his head. "He never just lies down like that, Dad. Even when it rained, even when it snowed, he always walks." That was true. Daniel remembered the winter before, King pacing through snowflakes like royalty, refusing to bow to the cold. Now that same lion hadn't moved in days. Something deep inside Daniel told him his son was right. Something was very wrong. When they circled back to the enclosure that afternoon, a familiar face greeted them. Ben, one of the zookeepers. "Hey, champ," Ben said with a forced smile, crouching beside Noah. "Back to see your favorite?" Noah nodded nervously. "Why isn't he moving?" Ben hesitated, his gaze slid toward the lion and the smile faded. "He's not feeling well," he admitted. "The vet's been checking on him. Will he be okay?" Noah's voice was barely a whisper. Ben sighed. "We're doing everything we can." The way he said it made Daniel's chest tight. He'd heard that tone before, the quiet weight of adults trying not to break bad news to a child. 2 days later, the zoo closed early. A vet team arrived after hours, quiet, efficient, carrying tranquilizers and medical kits. The lead vet, Dr. Harper, had worked with wild animals for over 20 years. She'd seen lions injured, starved, even poisoned, but nothing like this. When she approached King's enclosure, he didn't growl or flinch. He just watched her, his amber eyes dull yet calm, as if he'd been waiting. They sedated him gently and examined the swelling on his side. It wasn't infection. It wasn't an injury. It was movement. Harper froze. She placed a hand over the lion's belly and felt it again. Faint, rhythmic, unmistakable. "Wait," she whispered. "He's not sick." Her voice cracked. "He's protecting something." Within minutes, the realization spread through the team. The male lion wasn't a male at all. King was a lioness, one who had been misclassified years ago due to her unusually thick mane, a rare genetic trait that made her look like a male. And she wasn't dying. She was pregnant. The swelling, the stillness, the refusal to eat. She wasn't sick. She was in labor. Moments later, the sound that filled the enclosure wasn't a growl of pain, but a low, trembling purr. By morning, zoo staff gathered outside the glass to witness something miraculous. 4 tiny cubs curled against their mother's side, blinking at the world for the first time. When the gates reopened that weekend, visitors lined up early. The story had already spread. King, the mighty lion, was now queen, a mother who had hidden her strength not in fury, but in love. Noah pressed against the, quote, glass again, his eyes wide with wonder. "Dad," he whispered. "She wasn't sick. She was just taking care of them." Daniel smiled softly. "Looks like she was stronger than anyone realized." The cubs squirmed beside their mother, tiny and golden, and the lioness lifted her head to look at the crowd. For a moment, her eyes met Noah's, and the boy swore she recognized him. From that day on, their Saturday ritual had new meaning. They didn't just visit a lion anymore. They visited a story about patience, love, and quiet strength, a reminder that even kings sometimes carry the gentlest hearts of all. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this story as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. If you did, please take a moment to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever a new story comes out. Your support truly means a lot and helps me keep creating more content for you.